Hi, friends, and welcome to Season 3 of the School Librarian Learning Network podcast. I'm Steve Tatro, often known as Dr. T Loves Books, and I love talking about all things related to school libraries. I'm an old dog who's always trying to learn new tricks. That's why at each episode of the SLLN podcast, I'll chat with a school librarian about a lesson, program, or activity they love. Hopefully, this can be a place for school librarians to get ideas and find new ways to engage with their students and staff. Speaking of which, I'd love to hear about what you and your friends are doing in your school library. Email me at drtlovesbooks@gmail.com. That's drtlovesbooks@gmail.com to tell me about what you're doing, offer feedback about the SLLN podcast, or to request a podcast sticker. As Amy Herman likes to say, being a guest on a podcast is a great way to show your admins you are engaged in meaningful professional development and leadership in the profession. So drop me a line and let's chat. That being said, the opinions and ideas shared in this podcast by myself and my guests are our own and do not reflect those of our school districts. I just like to geek out about school libraries. So without further ado, let's get to this week's episode. Hey everybody, we're back. I've got a new friend. I'm very excited and we're going to be talking about some fun stuff. But before I get too far along the path, let me say welcome, Vicky. Thank you so much for being here. Why don't you take a second to tell folks who you are, where you're at, and what you do?
Awesome. Hi, everyone. My name is Vicky Finney. I am a high school librarian at Washburn High School in Topeka, Kansas.
Kansas. Got a whole string of Kansas folks going lately, and I love it. It's great.
Yes.
Y'all are the best.
We are.
So how did you end up in school librarianship in the first place?
Yeah. So I always wanted to be a teacher. My aunt was a teacher, and I was just that type A kid who, knew that was what I was going to do. Went through school, loved English, loved reading books, got my degree in English, and didn't realize there was a lot more to it than reading the books.
Yeah. If only that was all it was.
Yes. Grammar is not my strong suit. So like a lot of people who are who are just in education, they need a master's degree in something because it's easier, to recertify. And I didn't want to do administration. I didn't want to do English again. And I actually had a friend who was getting just her public library degree at Emporia State. And so I looked into it and I thought it was really exciting because what I discovered after teaching English for a year was I loved teaching more than I loved English. So I taught for 1 year and then immediately went back and started my master's. And my favorite thing about it is that I can dabble, especially in the high school, in so many different subject areas. I'm not just pigeonholed to one thing.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the original plan, but it definitely fell into place and I love it.
I totally get that. Yeah. I was just talking to an English colleague the other day and saying how the library is the best parts of teaching without the bad parts of teaching. So
yes.
Love it. On board with that. So we're going to be talking about your Keva Plank challenge. And before we dive into that, I have to admit a little bit of ignorance here. I know that Keva Planks exist and I've got a basic idea of what they are, but maybe there's other folks that are not as familiar with Keva Planks. So can you just start with what are Keva Planks?
Yeah, absolutely. So Keva Planks are, I wish I had one in front of me to show measurement. I think they're 1 by 4 inch. They're either cedar or pine blocks. It depends on if you're buying Keva for education or Keva for home use. I think they use different materials, but they're just little rectangular blocks that you can use for all kinds of things. Team building, reinforcing lessons, creativity. We discovered them after volunteering at our local Children's Discovery Center. Yeah, and we just fell in love with them. So
nice. So, okay, you saw these things when you were out and about. And how did you go from that to Keva Plank Challenge?
Absolutely. So here in Topeka, we have the Kansas Children's Discovery Center. It's attached to Gage Park and the Topeka Zoo, if anyone's familiar with the area. And they have an engineering day once a year. And so we went and we were volunteering there, my husband and I. And in the engineering room, they had the Keva planks and they were just building towers as tall as you can, build. And it was just a free build. And we're supposed to be helping the children. I was building towers. So, and then at our district, we also have a foundation grant. So every fall, I guess every August, you can submit grants and they're typically awarded pretty quickly within the school year, early September.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Yeah. The district foundation fundraises for them. I'm not sure all that goes into that, but it's just for basically giving teachers extra goodies that they wouldn't normally be able to fit into their classroom budgets.
Love
So
that.
yeah, my first year there, I had used the grant to buy, I think, breakout EDU kits. And so I think it was it was either my second or third year when I was like, oh, those Keva planks, because our
Aha.
school library has ridiculously tall ceilings. And I was like, I wonder how tall we could get these towers. That's kind of what started getting the ball rolling.
Gotcha. Okay. That totally makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny, like you're talking about grants, because like I said, I'm only limitedly aware, slightly aware of Kiva Planks, but there is a grant program through our county educator association. And it was just enough last year to cover a set of Kiva Planks. And so I was kind of going back and forth, like, should I get these? Should I not get these? Like, I'm not quite sure. I don't know them super well, so I don't know. But I have a feeling I'm going to be putting in that grant this year to move this forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't remember exactly the cost, but I know we purchased the 3 rolling kits. So it comes with the box, and then I think each box comes with 1,000 Kiva planks.
Okay.
And we call it the Kiva plank train because we just string the boxes together and I can roll them around the building if teachers are using them outside of the challenge. So that's a great place to start. Also because you've got the crates, so you can just shove them wherever you need to. So
I love that. I think I was looking at like 500 planks in a bag or something like that.
Yes.
So box would be even nicer. And I assume the boxes are probably like stackable and stuff.
No, I mean, you can make them. You could be creative. Ours, we have put on wheels on casters.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Because they probably weigh a ton now that I'm thinking about it.
Well, the Kiva's in there, yeah. Now, we do have some high school kids that think they can carry them. But
of course.
Yeah.
So, okay, the Kivas have arrived and you've got this vision of we're gonna see how high these planks can go. So how did that sort of become, like, what were sort of the steps? Like the students are walking in, is this the first time they're seeing the Kiva planks? Have these been around a little bit, or sort of how did it unfold?
Yeah. So to give some backstory, I hate the month of February. To me, it's the longest and coldest month, even though it's short and there's conferences. It just drags on. It's that last month before spring break.
Yeah.
And the previous, I think 2 years I was there, I had tried to do something in February. So we got the grants, then, had to write the purchase order. So by the time they all got there assembled, it was, winter. So when the kids walked in February, it was their first time seeing them.
Okay.
So yeah, so we hit science teachers really hard because our physics teachers especially, we sold this as, hey, we can reinforce these skills that you're already doing. But we also sent it out to the whole staff as a team building activity, group work, or just, you guys have worked your butt off, you need a brain break type of thing. And then we just promoted it to the whole staff. And kids were able to either come in with their teachers, if the teachers reserved a time slot, or there are certain periods throughout the day that if, they've got work done, they could come down by themselves. So
I love the physics connection because,
Yeah.
and like, maker spaces are ideal for getting our science teachers on board because, making and physics and product design and scientific thinking, like all that good stuff. But it's still can sometimes fall through the cracks, like the science teachers and the math teachers especially. And I can see a lot of practical applications that you can say, ooh, come with your students, your math students, your science students, and let's talk about how we can use this. So love
This
that.
year was really cool because we actually bought more this year. We followed up and bought extra because, they do eventually wander off. They get stuck in pockets because kids are trying to carry them up ladders and things. So I think this year we had 4,400 Keva planks. We bought a few extra. We wrote another grant this year. But those physics teachers will come in, all of them in one day, and you'll have 2 classes worth of kids. So up to 40 kids in the library building towers. It gets really chaotic. They almost run out of blocks. And I tell them, I'm like, okay, you got to start scavenging from everybody else. So they'll stand there waiting for a tower to fall, and then they'll just sprint and then they'll steal, and it's really entertaining. And then those physics teachers will also, this year they brought them in twice. So they did it the first time, went back and reflected, okay, what did you do wrong? What did you do well? And they built them again. So
awesome. I love when we get that reflection element in and give the students that opportunity, not just to reflect, but I love that they came back and were able to kind of work with, okay, having reflected, now what? Because A, the reflection gets dropped out of education too often, and B, the follow-up after the reflection gets dropped out too often. So love and hands-on. I mean, all the good stuff. This is
I
the
know.
best.
Yes.
So I kind of sidetracked us a little bit, but they are coming in February. They're
Yes.
seeing the planks. You have invited the physics teachers.
Mhm.
How does it build from there into competition?
Yeah. So when it started, we gave them 30 minutes, which we quickly realized was not safe because they learned really quickly how to build tall towers. And I did not want to violate any OSHA guidelines. The kids
Mm-hmm.
would, but
Oh, yeah.
so as it stands right now, the kids come in, they sit down at the tables, and we welcome them. I do a quick little demo. There were very few rules. Don't build off the tables because they'll get too tall and be unsafe. No
Mm-hmm.
sabotaging other towers. You know, just some simple like tips and tricks for how to build the tower so they don't run out of blocks because they want to sandwich plank them and
Mm-hmm.
they don't get very far. So I give them a few like minor tips and then I show them the leaderboard. So they can compete individually. So every freshman against every freshman, or they can compete in teams and the teams can be made up of anybody. So any grade level, staff can jump in, but a team competes against all the other teams.
Okay.
And yeah, so at the end of the whole month, there are prizes for the top 3 towers in every category. So
Ooh,
9, 10, 11, 12 teams. And then there's also a staff competition too.
nice.
And then teachers a lot of times will also do an like in-class incentive, whether it's a little bit of extra credit or they've got candy in their room, bragging rights. Sometimes they just want to beat the teacher's tower.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Bragging rights to brag on your friends that you beat. So,
Yes, absolutely. And the prizes are nothing special. We just do goodie bags of food because high school kids love snacks.
oh, yeah.
So,
Oh,
but
students are very food motivated. Absolutely. I mean, let's
they
face
are.
it, humans are very food motivated. So
Yeah, they are.
that's awesome. So they're coming in. And so was this your first year doing the Tower Challenge?
This is year 5, I
Oh,
think. We
okay. So this is
started,
like well established.
yeah, I want to say 20, we'll see. I'm trying to think. So I started at Washburn Rural in the fall of 2018. COVID happened in the middle and it's all a blur. So I
Mm-hmm.
think we did our first Keva Plank Challenge in 2022. Oh, wait, here we go. I've got all my numbers.
Nice. Trust
Yes.
a librarian. Have the
February of
numbers.
2022 was the first year
Okay.
we did it. So,
Okay.
yeah.
That's several go rounds that you've had with this, which is
Yeah.
great. So from from first to most recent, like
Mhm.
how has this sort of how have you seen it evolve or change, or like what have you learned as it's gone along?
Absolutely. So, obviously, like I said, we try and bring in those math and science teachers,
Mm-hmm.
reinforcing those skills. But we've seen a lot of other people get really excited about it. So, we've had art teachers come in and try to just draw the towers that are being built. But we've had a
Yeah.
lot of success with our special needs classes or our resource classes coming in.
Interesting.
Yeah. And kids that really struggle to work in groups, just practicing working with partners.
Mm.
And when those classes come through, we don't really push like, here's the tallest height you need to beat to win. It's just, it depends on the kids. Some of them you amp them up, like hype them up, like, yeah, we're going to hit that height. And
Uh-huh.
then other ones, it's just like, hey, you're here, you're going to build this awesome tower. Let's work together. Something we learned this year that was really cool. We actually had our public speaking classes come in and they were doing a group speech. And so they did this activity because it lined up perfectly. And it was their introduction to their groups. They had just been assigned their groups. And so this was them like learning teamwork.
Okay.
And one of the teachers said, he goes, the group that you expect to, succeed, the stereotypical book nerds, if you would, did not do as good. But his kids that are more street smart, sometimes a little bit more of a challenge for him,
Mm-hmm.
those kids just excelled. So like seeing these different skill sets and getting to see those kids that normally get a bad label, unfortunately, getting to see them excel in something is really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Man, and I
Yeah.
love how anytime we're doing hands-on stuff, it is such a great leveler for
Mhm.
ability level, skill level, and also just like general like knowledge, because a
Mhm.
lot of our students are coming in to any kind of hands-on challenge with very limited hands-on experience with lots of different things. So
Yeah.
really gives everybody the chance to shine, whether or not they're super fluent in the subject that they're coming in with. It can still be just a great fun activity, but also a great learning activity.
Yeah. And then I think the only other like real modification and change we've had to make from year 1 to now is after 2 years, we had to cut the time in half. So we went from 30 minutes down to 15
Okay.
because they just are getting too good. The first year we built these towers, our tallest height was 12'7", and he did that.
Amazing.
Yeah, but he did that by himself in 30 minutes. This year we had our tallest tower ever at 13 feet, 8.5 inches.
Wow.
And that was in 15 minutes. So they're getting really fast and they're getting
Yeah.
really good. We're having to constantly buy taller ladders because we can't get them from the district fast enough. So we now own a 10-foot ladder that we have in the back of the library. So yeah.
Hey, handy for when you want to do stuff around the library, I'm sure.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
So do you credit the increase in their skills with the students are seeing this repeatedly over years, or are you seeing like freshmen coming in with a better set of skills than you've seen in the past? I'm just kind of curious.
It's a combination of both. So the tower building always starts out really rocky. So the first couple weeks of February, they haven't figured out the challenge. So the best way to build these towers is to basically challenge yourself physically, like, well, with physics. But you have to be brave enough to stand the blocks essentially up on end.
Mhm.
So you have to have a sturdy hand because, time is racing and you're shaking because you're nervous.
Right.
But you also have to find the strongest shape. So I believe the strongest shape is a triangle, I think.
That makes sense to me.
Yes. And I'm sure my husband would correct me, but he knows these things. But the strongest shape, I believe, is a triangle. But the problem with a triangle is you have to keep it perfectly straight because once it starts to twist or go off, it collapses.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to keep it straight. And you also can't really stand it up on end. So what most of the kids discover is they can do squares and stand them up on ends and just repeat the vertical squares all the way up. And they can get a lot of speed really fast. So we have a combination of kids, they come in initially, they just want to lay them all flat. And then they look around, they see what other people are doing, and then they observe, and then they modify and they change. And then we also have kids who come in every single year and they just make it their personal challenge, just beat their best every year. So it's a little bit of both.
Okay. I love that. And I love that they are like, this activity is encouraging the students to pay attention to what's going on around them because I'm not going to speak for your students, but holy smokes, my students, they walk into things because they're not paying attention. So like, I love that this is sort of expanding their awareness a little bit beyond just what's directly in front of them.
Yes, absolutely.
And I love too that you talked about like bringing art in and art teachers like drawing. And I mean, I can see this going in so many amazing directions. Like you can absolutely like stick with the physics and like who can go tallest. And then you could also like, I could see talking to the physics teachers about using them to like, sure, up is great. How far sideways can you go before it collapses? Like stacking and, interleaving and stuff.
Yes.
So many physics applications, but then like art, like having a special art section for like who can make the prettiest tower, the most interesting arrangement, like just so many different things you could do here. And bringing in your speech kids, never would have thought to do that. Like brilliant though. Like such a great opportunity for them, like you said, for that team building and just even just getting to know you. So like if you've got new students in the school, what a great opportunity for them to get to know each other and kind of get used to the culture of the space. So
it's a lot of promotion up front. I'm sure the staff gets really irritated with all my emails. I send emails out, to the whole school. I send them out to the science department, the math department, the art department, and then I'll send them out to English, like, hey, if you have one class that's ahead, send them down. Because, there's always going to be that one class or someone's falling behind, things like that. They also, every year there's a kid who says, hey, you need to judge based off the prettiest tower. I'm like, I don't know how to do that. Like, we have to take pictures of all these towers and vote. Like, I can't be subjective because there was one tower several years ago that kiddos built and it was absolutely gorgeous. I don't know my shapes. It was, I think it was 6-sided. Yes.
Okay.
And then off of 4 of the sides, they had squares and they built it up and it is the coolest tower. But they only had, when they built that tower, they had 30 minutes. So it only got 5 feet tall. So So they're kind of limited. But the towers or the blocks do get checked out by teachers outside of the challenge. So
Okay.
we have had our teachers take them down to their room and use them for 2D art designs. We've had our computer science teacher, she uses them. The kids make mazes and they have the little Sphero robots that they
Oh, yeah.
drive through. So they get
Nice.
used for a lot of things, not just this.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, talking about geometry and like just having the manipulables to create different geometric shapes and like
Yeah.
maybe tying that to your physics class and talking about like, well, which ones are most stable and which ones, when you do this, when you rotate, when you twist, when you try and build them in different dimensions, like how does that affect?
Yeah.
And we used to do, our science teachers in my building used to do an earthquake challenge, and the kids would build stuff out of popsicle sticks and put them on a shake plate. And I'm just imagining like, what could you do with Keva planks on a shake plate? I wonder what would happen.
I know. When you order the Keva planks, they send you, well, this year we got a little booklet with them with all these incredible designs. And I don't even know how, some of them are bridges and archways. How do you get them to stay?
Yeah.
It's beyond me, but it's really cool.
Huh. I love that, man. I mean, again, like just anytime we've got that hands-on stuff, and like, I love that this sort of takes almost a kindergarten building block aspect and sort of refines it a little bit and brings it into middle school, brings it into high school, and gives the kids that it's play, but it's productive play. It's thoughtful. It's learning experience, not just seeing what we can do with blocks. And I mean, not that there's anything wrong, just seeing what we can do with blocks too. Like that's a great opportunity as well. But man, so many ways that this can be adapted and utilized.
Yes.
Man. And so right now you said your tallest is 13, almost 14 feet tall? 13.8?
13 feet, 8.5 inches. Yes.
Boy,
and I'm trying to see. My
like
tallest
in my head,
solo was 9'10". So a senior built a 9'10" by himself this year.
Man. And like I'm picturing that against like a basketball hoop, which is set at 10 feet, and then the backboard goes up a couple feet above that. So like 13.8, I think, is going to be even above the top of a basketball backboard, which is tall. That is way up there.
I know. And they end up standing so high on that ladder, and you just have,
Well, that's the thing. I'd be with my middle schoolers. I'd be like, I don't know if I can trust you to stand on my kick step, never mind a 10-foot ladder.
Yeah, you may have to adjust the timing a little bit, especially once they get good.
Yeah, seriously. I'm just imagining like as a team, there's got to be like almost a bucket brigade of Keva planks going up the ladder, like passing off and handing up to the top.
Yes. You normally end up with, at the beginning, you've got multiple kids building. And then once it gets so tall, you end up with one kid on the top, one kid handing them, things. And then you sometimes, depending on how many teams are going, you end up with two ladders and they're like sandwiched. So it depends on how many other teams are going and if they can steal the ladders, because I don't let them poach ladders from teams that are using them.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah. So it gets a little chaotic and kind of fun watching them fight over the ladders. So I have had kids try to take two wooden chairs, seat to seat, and put a chair on a chair. No. So yeah, it definitely becomes an assembly line situation once they get so tall.
And then the solo kids must be like leaping up and down like maniacs.
Yes. They've got, their Keva planks in their pockets. One girl emptied out her lunchbox and filled it full of Keva planks and put it on top of the ladder. Yeah.
Creativity, resourcefulness. Love it. Getting the opportunity to test those skills. So I'm trying to also imagine how wide are these? Like they're very tall, but they must be pretty narrow.
Yeah. That 13-foot one, maybe a 5x5 square.
Wow.
Yeah. And they just do squares all the way up, tall and narrow. Now, this falls during parent teacher conference month. So I took it upon myself to rebuild that really 6-sided one with the extra 4 squares. I got that one. Oh goodness, I can't remember how tall I got it. I think at least 11 feet by myself. I did not have a timer. I just free built. I think I built for maybe 2 or 3 hours, just slowly up and down the ladder carrying bricks. So you can get really big, intricate ones if you just let a kid free build for hours. But when they're speed building, they're tall, narrow, and hoping they don't fall down.
Yeah. Well, and I'm picturing like Jenga and way like an 11-foot Jenga tower would be like.
And then every so often you'll drop one and they watch it just fall through the middle of the tower. And we're like, No. And
There-
in between them building it, I am also running up and down and measuring the towers.
So that's what
Because
I was going to ask is how are you measuring the towers?
yeah, I had to buy a tape measure because ours wasn't tall long enough. So this one is a 25-foot tape measure that I have all bedazzled so it doesn't run off. And I measure at 5, 10, and 15-minute intervals. And should their tower fall, they can rebuild if they want, but I keep whatever their tallest recorded height was.
Okay.
So if their first tower was taller, we keep that height. If it's the second one that ends up getting taller, I've only knocked down one tower in my day, and that was this year. I felt so bad. So for that kiddo, I kept whatever his height was, and then we just let him build again. We just added them together. He only got to like 6 feet, so it wasn't anything. I didn't knock over a 15-foot tower, so thank you. But I have had several after the final buzzer goes, and I say, okay, hands off the towers, that I have been walking up and getting ready to hand the tape measure up, and they have collapsed on me. like just because they just give way after so long. You're like,
yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those kind of
wear glasses or safety goggles, something.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, helmets, safety, all the safety you can get. Because I was thinking also, there's another element of physics is let's look at what the force of one of these pieces as it drops is, because dropping a piece of wood from 12 feet in the air, you're building up some serious force there.
Yes. We have some really incredible slow-mo destruction videos of these towers that are super fun. And then, kids they'll take out one plank and see if they'll fall. And they'll kind of start working their way around to see how many it takes to knock it out. The square towers doesn't take much, but if they built a shorter, more intricate tower, because some of the kids don't care about winning. They just want to build something creative. So they'll get, these 3-foot tall, really complicated, multi-sided towers. And they'll sit there and just take out blocks, and it takes quite a few before they fall.
That's another great opportunity to like play around with a different style of building and structure, and like thinking about, okay, we built this and now we want to reuse these resources. What can we, take out and remove? And there's some interesting possibilities there too, boy. Yeah. And I mean, talk about the videos. What a great opportunity for like a video class or a production class or a media class to be like, okay, let's do stop motion. Let's do slow-mo. Let's do speed. Let's, all the different ways you could play with. How do we present these building and taking apart or destruction elements in different formats? Boy.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's so many things. So many things. I love it.
I know. They're so fun.
And I usually will ask about ELL differentiation or, multi-level differentiation, but it seems like this is a very straightforward, like crosses a lot of boundaries without needing a lot of additional differentiation or support.
Right. It's very much teacher by teacher, class by class basis. It's very much, we as librarians are already really good at walking into a room and trying to match that teacher's existing vibe. Because if you go in there trying to teach class A the way class B was taught, it's not going to work. Like you have to be a chameleon. So you can pretty much tell when the kids come in, and then it's just a quick conversation with their teacher. So, we have 47 or 53-minute class periods. We don't have block. We have shorter classes. Okay. And so by the time they take attendance, walk to the library, I normally give them 10 minutes of just practice time. And then we knock them down, and then they get 15 minutes of their official timed window. And that normally leaves us with 5 minutes at the end of the hour for pickup and everything. And normally when they're coming in with the teacher, I ask, okay, are we doing the full timed window? Are you doing, some of them will pre-assign groups. So these kids are working in groups. We want them to work together. So some of them get told, you're doing this as a group. So we're just kind of checking in on those things. And some of the kids, it's just, do they even want to compete? Kids aren't competitive. So just, if they just want to come in and sit down and just build a tiny tower on the floor, they're hands-on, they're doing something. So yeah,
absolutely. It's a way to take part in the experience without necessarily investing themselves in something that they may not be as interested in.
Right. Yeah.
Love it. So in terms of your setup before the students come in, it sounds like it's relatively low key, but like what kind of things do you need to do to get ready for them?
We roll the Keva blocks out. So like I
Mhm.
said, they're in those big crates. So now we have 4 of them. So we have 4 boxes. We just roll them out. I try and spread them out around the space. I purchased a 10-foot ladder through our library funds. We had a little bit of extra funding, so I purchased that. The biggest step is reaching out to our custodial team, teachers, and like anyone who's willing to loan us a ladder, because the more ladders, the better. Especially when you get a big class coming in. There's nothing sadder than seeing the kids having maxed out and just staring up and they can't go any higher. So this year I got ladders. I actually emailed our central office, our warehouse staff, and they
Oh.
sent 3 ladders. So I had our ladder, their 3 ladders. We had 4 ladders, and then we have a couple, step stools, chairs, things like that. So facilitating those type of things.
Okay.
Yeah.
That totally makes sense. And then in terms of breakdown afterwards, I'm assuming the students are involved in that process.
Yes. So we ask that they knock down their towers and put them away. The only time we don't knock down a tower is if there's not a class coming in and it's a really cool tower. And we'll intentionally leave a few up for kind of, easy promotion.
Mhm.
But if it's a full day of tower building or if there's some sort of after school activity, the kids knock them down. There is almost always a debate or forensics tournament in the month of February. So
Gotcha.
we just roll them in the back. We just roll them in the office, lock the doors, and then, yeah. So it's
You
relatively easy.
you roll the boxes into the
Mm-hmm.
office? Oh, okay.
Yep.
For a second, I thought you were rolling the towers. I was like, wow, that's
That would be impressive. Yeah. No, I wish. Some
okay. So
balancing.
that all makes sense. And I imagine when the students are, you know, pickup is probably going to go a lot faster than construction and, spreading everything out in the first place. So when you've got
Yes.
many hands, it's going to make that light work.
Yeah.
Hmm.
The library is not a quiet space during this activity. 'Cause
Yes. No.
you've got ladders falling, you've got Keva planks, they fall out, so they go everywhere. But it normally takes 2 or 3 minutes to pick up a tower with a group of kids. So
I would just find, I'm sure at first it's very difficult to pull a tower down. And I'm sure after you've done it a bit, it gets a little bit easier. But like seeing these structures the kids have built and saying, okay, they've got to come down has got to be a little bit of a,
it is. But we lean into the whole let's have fun destroying it. Like as much fun destroying it as building it. So they really, I ran through one this year. Like I just ran straight through it. So
love that. Kool-Aid
yeah.
man right through it. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's now all the kids are going to want to do that. You realize.
Yes. That's okay.
So I know people are going to want to do this, and there's maybe even people who already have their Kiva planks, but if they don't, and they're going to get their Kiva planks, what are some things that you think they should have in mind as they're getting ready to maybe get ready for this for the first time?
Absolutely. So the biggest thing would be, I think, your space restrictions. So our library, we're very lucky we have nice high ceilings.
Mm-hmm.
So every so often, our disc golf club, when they can't go outside, if it's raining, they'll borrow them in their hallway, and they're limited to the 8-foot ceilings, and then they can't go any taller. So
Mm-hmm.
finding a space where you can build them, and then the biggest one beyond that would be getting those ladders and figuring out that time restriction. You want to make sure that those kids are building safely.
Mm-hmm.
So they've got ladders to stand on that are sturdy, but also we want to make sure they're not standing on the very top step and making us
Yes.
all very nervous.
Yes.
So making sure that there's adequate time and adequate ladders. So that way, when they do figure it out, that first year, they don't get as tall. They're still, figuring out the nuts and bolts. But once they learn and they get in the flow of it, they're
Mm-hmm.
gonna start building tall. So you got to make sure that there's space and it's safe.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of where I could do this in my school because my library ceilings are they're less than 9 feet tall. And like I can practically touch the ceiling when I stretch. So clearly we're going to have to think about if we're going for height, we got to find a new space.
Yes.
But certainly lots of options and opportunities with this as well.
Yeah. I would say maybe the gym would be a cool place.
Yeah.
If your school has a community center or a commons, like those big, a lot of schools are remodeling. Our elementary schools remodeled, and they all have these really big, beautiful, welcome, like lobby areas once you get through the security check-in, like
Mm-hmm.
using anything like that. And even if you don't do it as a competition, you could have kids build them out in that lobby to welcome parents on parent night or something, just draw people in. Yeah.
Absolutely.
If
And
it's
you said
warm outside.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
Love that. You said gym, and my mind immediately pictured my gym where we have pull-out bleachers that I'm imagining instead of using ladders, we can build on the side of the bleachers and the kids
Oh
can just
yeah.
reach over the edge of the bleachers. Maybe that's a
Yeah.
way to avoid
Hmm.
that because middle school kids on a ladder, I can't even imagine. I'd have to bungee cord them to the ladder,
Yep. Yeah.
but lots of options. Man. And I mean, I can imagine this being used with any grade level. Like you could
Hmm.
absolutely bring this way down to the little kids or all the way up. I mean, you're using it with high school students and
Hmm.
seniors, and they clearly seem to be loving it because they
Yeah.
are really going for it with these structures.
Yeah. This year we had 240 towers built. And
Wow.
I want to say we had February, there's only 28 days in February. You take out the weekends and we only had like 15 days with kids. So
Yeah.
we had a ton of towers built. And I mean, yeah, I bought a personal set just for my nephew who just turned 3. And he loves to build his little 2-foot tower. What he loves more is watching me build a little 2-foot tower and him knocking it over. But
Yes.
so all grade levels, all ages.
That's awesome. So you've been doing this for a little while. So obviously this has some sticking power. Have you gotten any kind of feedback from the students or the staff about this activity?
Just that they love it and they want me to bring it
Yeah.
back every year. I will be honest, by the time I hit February 28th, I never want to see another Keva plank again. Like I'm ready to shove them back in the closet for a year and not think about them. But no, they enjoy it. They want to know when they're coming back. Almost always when they're put up, they're like, "Oh no, is it done?" And then I think the other feedback has just been, ways to are the ways to use them. So teachers coming in and checking them out for classes. They'll come in for the challenge and they're like, "Hey, I want to use this for this class." So we have a math teacher. She brings her kids in every year. And then after she did that, it's normally August, September, she checks out the boxes and uses them in her room. So
Hmm.
I think that would
That's
be
awesome.
the biggest feedback. That and then just them giving us ideas on how to get more towers or more ladders and trying to figure out
Yeah.
that. Like,
Well, and I mean, clearly the folks that you're getting grants from think that this is a
mhm.
worthwhile program that you have managed to get several grants worth of
Yeah.
these Kiva planks. So that's great. I mean, that's a
Yes.
testament too to your preparation of this program that it is seen now as something that is like, yes, we need to continue to support it and grow it. So that's
Yeah.
awesome.
I
Hmm.
document, so I have a printout log where I write down their heights because that's just the fastest option. And then after every class goes through, I upload every final height that, whatever the tallest recorded was. I put it in a Google form and then that
Mm.
tracks them all in sheets. So I have every single year worth of logs and sheets and heights. So if I ever were to get questioned on the use of these things, I can send that out. And then we also include those in our quarterly statistics as well. So
Oh, yeah, that's a great idea.
yeah.
Man, anything we can do to document and have that
Hmm.
evidence on hand and say, here's awesome stuff we're doing. Check it out.
Yes.
Very clever. All right. Man, well, I love this. This is so cool. Thank you so much for coming to talk about it and share about it.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think we're at the point where we're going to take our 90-degree turn and go into our book break.
Book break. Squiddy.
Yay. Okay.
Any kind of books you want to bring us, what do you think people should get on their reading radar?
Okay. So I read a lot. Sadly, I don't read as fast as the kids think I do. But
I
every
don't think any of us
summer,
do.
I know. Every summer, I do Mrs. Finney's hot picks for summer reads. So I brought my hot picks for summer reads for us.
Okay. I love that.
Do you want me just to go through them real quick, like rapid fire?
Absolutely. Yeah. Bring them on. Let's see what we got.
Okay. So I try and do 5 different genres as much as I can, and I try to have them all be summer vibey. It's hard how to tell, but they're all YA. So The Golden Boy's Guide to Bipolar by Sonora Reyes. That one goes into mental health, realistic fiction, uh, conflicts between religion and finding self and all of these different things and how those conflict. There's an LGBTQ plus representation in that one. It was really good.
Nice.
A painful, but I thought very honest portrayal of someone struggling with mental health. So,
Okay. Love that.
yeah.
Get that on our
And
mental health lists.
yes. And then Ryan LaSala's The Dead of Summer. I cannot get enough of Ryan LaSala. He is my favorite. Ever
That is
since
not
I
a
read
name I'm familiar with.
yes, he wrote The Honeys, which is a horror novel about the laziest summary of it is there's a girl with bees in her head. Like that's the laziest summary. There's a lot more to it than that, but I say that little bit and it gets the kids. So The Dead of Summer is about a kiddo who goes back to their home island. They are townies on like a tourist trap island.
Okay.
And basically people start turning into zombies made of coral.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm seeing a little bit of a theme in LaSalle's work here. Okay.
Yep.
Love it.
They're weird, but we love them. And then my fantasy was A Tall Dark Trouble by Vanessa Montalban. I apologize. I just butchered that poor woman's name.
That's all right.
But it is a modern Cuban American take on practical magic. So,
okay.
Yeah. Got alternating timelines. It's between the 1980s and today. Siblings, cursed in love, the whole thing. It's really cool.
Nice tie-in with they're remaking, or not remaking, they're doing the sequel now for Practical Magic like 20 years later. So love that. Okay.
And then for romance readers, I have Guava and Grudges by Alexis Castellanos.
Okay.
It is a Cuban-American Romeo and Juliet set in the Pacific Northwest with donuts and no death.
Okay.
So, you know.
Talk about donuts and romance and no death.
Yes.
There's a great one. There's a great romance called, now I'm not going to remember it. Oh, I'm going to have to look it up later. It's so good. It's YA, and it's about a kid who doesn't have his parents. He lives with his granddad. The granddad's getting older. The granddad runs a donut shop, and the kid helps him out.
Is it Donuts and Other Proclamations of Love?
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah, I love that one.
So good. Such a wonderful, warm story. Yes. Sorry, did not mean to sidetrack us, but man, that was just, as soon as you said donuts and romance, I was like, oh, that was such a good book that I read. So anyway.
And then last but not least, I have a graphic novel. It is Tall Water, and my printer is horrible, so I cannot see the author. I apologize. But it is about a young lady who she lives with her father in the United States. Her mother still lives in Sri Lanka. They got separated, and she takes an advantage to travel to Sri Lanka to see her mother. There's a tsunami, I believe, all kinds of different things. So finding your family, discovering yourself, natural disasters,
I love a graphic
communities.
Novel.
Yeah.
Man, that sounds interesting. I have not heard of that one. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Man. So my summer reading list has just grown. I love it.
Yay.
This is so great. Thank you so much for sharing this activity, sharing these awesome titles. Yeah. I know folks are going to want to kind of see what you're up to and what's going on. So where can they go find you if they want to find you online?
Absolutely. So I am actually really lucky. I have a co-librarian. So there are two of us at the high school.
Nice.
And we share an Instagram. It is at WRHSLIB.
All right.
So we have an Instagram, a X, there's a Snapchat, a Facebook, and a TikTok.
Wow.
All of those are at WRHSLIB, except for the TikTok. We added 5,900 to the end of it. So a little customized. I primarily just do TikTok and Instagram because I'm lazy. She posts on Snapchat and she keeps the other ones updated a little bit more.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so if you go to that Instagram, my hot picks for summer reads are on there. Pictures of the towers from years past are on there. All kinds of fun stuff.
Love it. Cool. All right. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate you taking the time. Folks, I don't know if you realize, but Vicky is out on summer break and she is still here sharing with us. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of the SLLN podcast. Be sure to check out the show notes for the episode. They feature links to resources shared by our guest, as well as ways to keep in touch with them, and links to the book break titles. I'd love to hear from you. If you have feedback, a comment, an idea, a question, or something you want to share, you can email drtlovesbooks@gmail.com. That's drtlovesbooks@gmail.com. Know a librarian with something we could learn from? Let us know. Until next time, be good, be safe, and be well.